going on, y'all? This your boy Teddy Blackman, and I'm back with another reaction review video. And this one is about Rick and Morty, season 7, episode 4. That's a Morty, and of course we got the preview last week, and the cold open is the family super enjoying spaghetti. But you knew from how Rick and Morty is, enjoying spaghetti just isn't the norm. It had to been something with it, and of course it was. So the spaghetti is coming from people who have committed suicide on another planet, and their insides turn into this delicious, irresistible spaghetti. Now, I'm gonna say, like, it was about a 22, 23 minute episode, minus the commercials. And I was gearing my thoughts up to really lay into this episode because um, Rick and Morty isn't really feeling like Rick and Morty. And it's not just because of the new voices, which I also will start to get into. I'm going to start with that, matter of fact. So, when season 7, episode 1 came out, I felt like you could tell there were new voices, but the voices were really just like, they were really trying their hardest to imitate Rick and Morty and Mr. Poopy Butthole and stuff like that. And I felt like in that episode, they were so close to being super accurate to the original voices, voiced by Justin Rowland or whatever. But ever since then, I feel like they've kind of started to regress, and they started to like try less and lesser to depict like the original voices. Now Morty still sounds like Morty, but he's starting to not sound like Morty. Rick, who already didn't sound like Rick, but was about, I would say, about 75% accurate, is starting to drop down below 75%. Now, that's not the gripe. The gripe is, what are these episodes about? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're giving us, now this is 4 episodes. We're 4 episodes in. Like I said last time, it's only about maybe 10 episodes in the season. So we're looking at about 5 or 6 more episodes. You know what I'm saying? They're really, like, not progressing this Rick Prime storyline. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that this season would be all about that, considering that the way that the last season ended. You know what I'm saying? Him going crazy and telling Morty, like, "Oh, I'm dragging you in this with me. We're gonna catch him. We're gonna spend a lot of time, chasing this guy down." And they've done anything but that. Now, they referenced him in a couple of episodes, but it's been nothing to the degree of him putting stuff together, or him, putting together a plan, checking locations, or just even mentioning his name. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really interesting to see like what they were doing with this episodes. And now it's crazy because I was gonna lay into this episode until the last 5 minutes of the episode played, and the last 5 minutes of the episode saved the entire episode. So obviously they had to come up with a plan. So before I get to that, obviously it's spoilers. You know that by now. Um, Morty had went to the planet where they were taking the spaghetti out of people and showed people that the spaghetti was good, and so they made a deal with Morty, um, and to give him his own brand. It was called Mortios, basically SpaghettiOs, but it's called Mortios, and they were like basically factorizing the spaghetti from people and stuff like that. So in order to meet the supply and demand, they were, having people influencing people to like kill themselves, because that's like how they would. That's the only way that the person would turn into spaghetti on the inside, was through suicide. So of course they did that, but it always spirals out of control, and it ended up doing that. So they had to find a way to get everybody to stop wanting the spaghetti and stuff like that. So they took this guy who was on his not on his deathbed technically, but I think he only had about 90 days to live, and they took him to like this little place, and they strapped him into the bed, and he basically was killing himself, turning himself into the spaghetti. Was thinking about his life. Rick told him to think about his life and then press the button when he was ready. Obviously, if he pressed the button, it started the process of lethal injection, which was going to kill him, turn him into the spaghetti. But the caveat was Rick had cameras set up and was showing everybody in like this downtown Manhattan esque type of situation where it looks like New York, and with the big screens everywhere, the skyscraper buildings and all that, people watching, and they give you this heartfelt scene of the guy from the moment he was born, and he's playing with his parents, to him having like a crush in elementary school, and him graduating from elementary school, and he's dating his crush, high school, and then he leaves his crush behind to go to college. He's flunking out of college because he's not right without his crush. He's messing around with other girls, but it's not his crush. He's in college for architecture, so he's trying to build things and stuff like that, but he's failing. He failed out of college. So he ended up moving back with his parents, and then it forwards to his parents' tombstones, which means they passed. And then he comes up with something called Fred blocks, which is obviously roadblocks, but you can't use that. And super successful, so he gets on the right foot. He is on Friend Book, which is the Facebook cartoon Facebook version, and he looks up his crush, and she's married with 2 kids. They go out for drinks, and she shows him pictures on the phone like she's married with 2 kids and stuff like that. And it's jumping to a scene where they're in the rain and they start kissing, and then it jumps to a scene where she's knocking on the door and it's her husband, and she's saying I guess she wants a divorce. Jumps to another scene where she comes in to the guy with the divorce papers, and they start celebrating. Then it jumps to a scene where they're just out front of their house, super old, eating like jam out of the jar, which is what they was doing since kids, by the way. And then it jumps to a scene where his girl passes, and now he's at her tombstone, picnic blanket down, and he's eating jam out the jar like how they was doing. You know what I'm saying? And then, after that, it cuts back to him landing the situation, and then the little flat line happens, so he passes. And when he passes, obviously his insides turn into the spaghetti. So Rick cuts him open, takes the spaghetti out, put it on a plate, and tells Morty to eat it. And Morty, in front of everybody, everybody's watching on this camera and stuff. Now, before these last 2 to 3 minutes of this episode, because this is the end of the episode, because Morty, obviously, people see that now they don't want to eat the spaghetti no more, and everything is solved. And Rick gives you this heartfelt monologue about what is life and what is death and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Like I said, the last 3 to 4 minutes of this episode really saved this episode, because without that, this episode was going to be hot garbage. But they did what they always do at least once a season. They give you this epic scene of that guy going through his life with a classic song playing in the background. And it was a remake of Oasis's Live Forever, and it was covered by Kotami. I hope I'm saying his name right. I hope I'm saying his name right, because the way that she covered this song was magnificent. Oasis's Live Forever is a classic. I want to say it's a maybe rock pop song or whatever. But anybody knows me I love an acoustic cover of a song. Man, a soft instrumental version of a song. And Kotami, I hope I'm saying your name right, because you deserve all the flowers. This is you saved this episode. You saved this episode with that song hooked up to that scene that they was playing. Other than that, I was going to give this episode a 5 out of 10, maybe a 4 out of 10. But just that 2 to 3 minutes alone boosted this up to a 7.5, maybe even an 8. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see where they going with this, because they just not progressing the storyline, and I'm worried about that. You know what I'm saying? And you're not getting like your normal comedy with Rick and Morty either. I'm worried about that too. Without this song and heartfelt scene, this episode was going to be a failure. You know what I'm saying? But it was decent because of that. I want to get into a comment that somebody before I wrap up. I want to get into a comment that somebody gave sent me earlier. When I'm on Twitter or X, and I copy and paste my review links to different Rick and Morty like statuses, so to get people to try to click on it and stuff like that. And they said, I think the writing, pace, and plot lines are stale. Watching these felt empty. Old episodes had a few plot lines and each simultaneously making it feel fast paced, but at the same time like a lot happened in the episodes. These feel underwhelmingly flat to watch. No humor either. And for the most part, I agree. Now, outside of I want to say that second episode, which was the Jericky episode, the Jarek episode, um, they don't give you a lot of humor like you're accustomed to like seeing. I'm starting to think Justin Roiland maybe had a hand in the script writing too, because it's noticeably different. Um, Not a lot of comedy. It their funniness is coming from them. Their personalities all of a sudden being kind of quirky. You know what I'm saying? Um, the plot lines, I agree. The plot lines have been a little bit stale. Like I said, they're not progressing this Rick Prime storyline at all, and that's all anybody really is. It's all we really care about. You know what I'm saying? Um, like they just had a whole episode about spaghetti, basically. So it's like I don't. It feels like they're buying time for something. Now, what they're buying time for, I don't know. But 4 episodes in, it feels like they're buying time. Um, they give you a preview at the end of every episode for the next week's episode, and it looks like next week is going to pretty much be no different. They pick a topic or they pick something that the episode is going to be based around, and then it's just based around that. They might get a couple of surprises in there, in between there, something like that. But that seems to be the route that they're going this season. But anyways, that's about it. I just wanted to touch on that right quick. I agree with you, bro. Miles, Salem, or whatever that is. If y'all have a different opinion or agree, put it down in the comments. Other than that, like, comment, share, subscribe. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. These have been getting more views than I initially thought that they would. I didn't know because it's my first time doing like, you know, show reviews consistently outside of wrestling, and I'm gonna get back into that super ASAP. So yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I am out.